So I recently started working with NuCar Hyundai of Norwood. These guys are based on the northeast coast in Massachusetts, a little bit south of Boston. And they were looking for a way to track their keys and their vehicles. So when keys come out of key machines and they get left in desk or shoved into, a car's cup holder and then forgotten about, or just simply misplaced a detail or completely lost, they can locate them. Now they also wanted that same ability on vehicles. So let me show you how they're doing it. They're using our phone app and the desktop dashboard. Now, this allows them to hop in to find a key and find a car, and then type in a stock number of VIN. Maybe you want to do last 4, last 5, and search it out. So let's pretend that we're searching out this BMW X3 on top. I jump in. It's going to show me on the map first the location of the vehicle if you're tracking it. Now, on top of seeing it on the map, above that, it's going to tell me where it's located. So this is located in the sales pre-owned lot on the north side. And I can zoom in and zoom out to see that, to better understand, right? Now, if I'm walking around out there, all appears a dot on the map as well. Now, if I jump over to that key icon, it'll show me the location of the key. Now, I can see the key is in the building, but then above that, I'll say, hey, showroom/break room. So I know to go over into that general area, and same thing. If I can get over close to that pin drop, this is where you can get a little bit more interesting. I can walk you within 1 to 2 feet of key tag. So if I get over by it, this find a tag button on the screen will light up green. When I do, I can select that. It'll start pinging that tag. For the sake of seeing that, this is what the tags look like, right? So it's a small triangle tag. For the sake of scale, here's one on my set of keys. You can see not incredibly big, right? So it'll start pinging that tag, and as I walk closer to it, that white ball that's going to appear in the middle will move towards the dark blue. When you get to the dark blue, you're standing within 1 to 2 feet of that tag. Additionally, the tags have LEDs in them. So if you're standing in front of, let's say, a keyboard with a bunch of keys on it, or an inventory manager's office with a bunch of keys all over, and you're like, I don't want to look at every one, it'll flash to where you'd know, oh, it's that tag, and be able to grab it off the board, or whatever the case may be. So for the sake of granularity, key tags, I can get you within 1 to 2 feet. Car tags is going to pull to that nearest gateway, typically within a few spots. If I walk out to where it's at, I should be able to look to the right, look to the left, and see the vehicle that I'm looking for.
Now, you may be asking, how are you able to do this? What's the technology? How does it work? So I want to briefly explain that, and that's why I've got this map pulled up. So we create a network out on the campus, and it's using technology called LoRa. That's a combination of low campus radio and Bluetooth. We hold about 5 patents on this, so it's pretty cool technology. On the outside, where we can find light poles, sides of fences, side of buildings, we use what's called an exterior gateway. Now, the cool thing about these are they're solar powered, so I don't need power lines or anything like this. I can run this up light poles with brackets and just band clamp them on. This is what's going to see those key tags as they float around out on the lot, or if you're tracking vehicles, they're going to see the vehicle tags inside the vehicles as well, inside of buildings. Next to key machine. If you don't have a key machine, next to pegboards, right? Or key hook boards. I'm going to use these interior gateways. This is what's going to allow you to see keys and cars inside of buildings, in service bays, things like that. These guys simply plug into a power outlet. So now, all of these guys, right, that we're using are going to talk to a base station. This is the base station. Looks a lot like a wireless router. This guy is going to connect to the internet and, let's say, your main building, right? You can put this in a server room or somewhere. We'll hide it up in a ceiling. This collects all the data points. So they move from the tags to the gateways to this guy up to the cloud, so that when you open the app like you just saw, you can see that location of a key or a vehicle. Here's the desktop dashboard, and you can see their main campus on here. Now, currently, we're looking at every single key on the campus right now. So immediately, you can understand that if you left a key out at the end of the night, I could pull this up, turn on this, and see any keys that are left out there. And if I want to know which ones, I can hover over them or click on a certain area, and it'll give me a list over here on the side of which keys I'm looking at out there on the lot. From there, maybe you grab a porter, you grab a sales guy, say, hey, here's a stock number VIN, put that in your phone. I need you to go get that key off the lot. We've left it outside. So you no longer have to worry about leaving keys in cup holders or them falling out of pockets or out of the door when you're getting out, that sort of thing. Now, the second part to this is, of course, I can flip that over and look at every single vehicle at once, right? So this can be helpful if you have areas that you don't want cars. Maybe it's corporate parking, or maybe it's parking for your customer base, right? I want to know if there's cars parked there. Now, you can see this on the map, or I can go up to locations of inventory, so where I'm highlighting right now, and this will tell me. So this becomes super helpful if I want to know, hey, I know I've got some cars in the back lot, but one, how many cars are back there, and which cars? Well, you've got 17 cars back there. Turn off the map. Here's a list of all 17 vehicles back there, right? This can become powerful. If I've got cars parked in my Hyundai service area,
which cars are there and how many? We got 59 back here. Here's a list of all 59 vehicles. Now, these guys not only track retail vehicles, but they also track some service vehicles with us. So that's where you're going to see like this red 1203, much like these tags are on this back wall. I've got an entire way that you can track service keys and service vehicles. If you want to learn more about that, check the description of this video, or I'll throw a link up on the screen, or at the end, I'll also have something else, or just reach out to me. I'd love to set up a demo. You may be asking yourself, hey, what happens if a key or a vehicle leaves the campus? Is it just from there on out, I don't know what's going on? Kind of how can I handle that? And there's two parts to this I want to explain. The first is on the dashboard. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here, and there is a last sightings, not only for inventory, but also for keys. Now, what does that mean? It means anytime a key or a car leaves the campus with a tag, it immediately starts a timer. So if something leaves, much like this, we're going to look at keys for a second. They have two sets of keys that have been gone for more than 24 hours. Now, both of these are connected to service vehicles, so maybe there's a reason. Maybe it got sent off to get something done to it, right? But you can tell, right? I can come on this dashboard at any point and look from 0 to 4 hours, 4 to 24 hours, 24 to 72, and 72 plus. On top of that, we can set up alerts. So if you want certain staff members to receive email alerts on keys or vehicles that have been gone for an amount of time that you pick, we can set that up as well. Now, outside of this, there's one other caveat I want to talk about.
If one of your employees takes a key or a car home, it happens. I worked at a Honda dealership for nearly a decade. I occasionally left with keys, right? I was selling stuff, showing cars. I had a lot of them in my pocket. I left one in my jacket. I drive home for the day and realize I have the key, or I don't even know that I have the key, and they're looking for it. Now, if you have a key machine, you may see that Justin checked it out. I was the last one to have it at this time. But even if you don't, we still need the key to sell the car, do the work, whatever the case may be. Well, that's where this comes into play. Any employee who has the phone app, their phone can work as part of that network I mentioned earlier. So if I was to accidentally take a set of keys home, right? So I take these keys, I'm at my house. We go, hey, Justin was the last one to work a deal on it, or he was the last one with the RO, right? We shoot a text and go, hey, Justin, can you open up the TrueSpot app for me? When I open up the TrueSpot app, what it's gonna do is it's gonna turn on the location services. That can then ping this key tag off the campus. So if I accidentally take a key home, we can figure that out before we start recutting keys and wasting time and money searching for them. Now, the second part to this is, what if I want to go drop off a key or a car at a vendor where I don't have the network set up? We can use this same piece of technology. I could drive over to, let's say, a wet body sanding shop or a tint shop. Wherever that vehicle or key and vehicle are going to go, I could open up the TrueSpot app, allow it to ping that key tag and that car tag off the campus, and then we could make a note in our system or in your system, wherever you want to store that note, to know, hey, the car's off the campus, the key's off the campus, this is why.
Now, I want to take a second to talk about reporting, because that is something that's available with all of what we do. Now, the first report we're looking at is an idle vehicle report. Now, I can create all kinds of reports depending on what you want and what you need, but here's some examples. These guys wanted to be able to say, hey, I want to know what vehicles have been sitting for, let's say, 1 day. I can move to 1 day and see any vehicles that have been sitting for more than a day. This is for service and recon, right? Maybe we want to go 2 days, right? Okay, all of these vehicles, right, with these specific service tags that we talked about earlier, have been sitting for at least 2 days. Vehicle hasn't moved. This becomes helpful because if you know the location data and you can start to understand, hey, I've got vehicles that haven't moved, they've just been sitting stagnant. Why? Why haven't we done work to them? Why aren't they moving through our process? What's going on? At that point, you could open up tools and start to look and see if there's notes. Are we holding on parts, holding on customer approvals? What's going on with these vehicles? So reporting wise, we can do a lot of really cool things, whether it's looking at idle vehicle reports or starting to apply this and understand, hey, how long is it taking vehicles to move through certain sections of my dealership? Things like recon, or if you have multiple lots and they start at one big holding lot and move through recon and then, down to different departments and then out to physical lots, why not have reports where you can see, hey, what's the average time they're spending in certain places, which vehicles are there, how long it's taking them to move through. There's all kinds of different things we can do when it comes to reporting, if that's something you're interested in. So if you'd like to learn a little bit more about, maybe it's just tracking keys, right? Just the basics of, hey, if we're losing keys, it's costing us money and costing us time, let's set up a demo. Maybe you want to know about tracking vehicles or tracking vehicles and keys. Up to you, or tracking spares as well. We can do that for sure. Or maybe I tempted your interest and you're like, I want to learn more about this service option you have. You know, a reusable tag I can throw in the car, add this to the RO and track the vehicle anywhere on my campus or multiple campuses. And the same thing for my keys. With a matching number, I search 6040, it shows me the location of the key. Maybe it's at your dispatch office, or maybe it's in a service bay and your vehicle that's living in a parking structure off campus. Let's set up a demo, talk about your store, understand what your needs are, and figuring out pricing, figure out if this works for you.